On episode 131 of the Vincast, I chat with cult Burgundy producer Jean-Jacques Morel. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Vincast. My name is James Gasbrook, otherwise known as the Intrepid Wino, and thank you so much for your ongoing support of myself and also my wines. I'm really excited to be finally showing my Nebbiolo from 2017, spanner in the works. Please do keep an eye on your retailer and wine bar or restaurant of choice, and hopefully you might see it out there very, very soon. But I'm very excited also about the 2018 vintage here. I'm excited about working with some more Vermentino, some Sangiovese, and possibly introducing a new variety, which I'll be sharing on my social media. And also the last video of the 2017 winemaking experience will be available on my YouTube channel, I hope very, very soon. I'd also love to share with you that I've had some incredible mentions of the podcast in some US-based publications. Firstly, big shout out and thank you to former guest of the podcast, Christina Pickard, who is a contributor to Wine Enthusiast magazine in the US, and who asked me for my humble opinion about great places to eat and drink here in Melbourne as one of the top 10 wine destinations of 2018 in Wine Enthusiast magazine. And also, I want to thank both Levi Dalton, the godfather of wine podcasts, altering to that. I do highly recommend checking that out. It's a far superior podcast than my own, but also to Eric Asimov for their article in the New York Times, where they mentioned the Vincast as a great wine podcast to listen to. Truly humbled in both cases. Really could not have imagined that I would be mentioned in such incredible company, in such amazing publications. So it is a bit of a pinch me moment to be mentioned in such fantastic places. So thank you, as I said, for all the support. I really do appreciate it. As always, I love for people to get in contact with me, but more importantly, to leave a rating and a review of the podcast, particularly on iTunes, as it is a fantastic way to get the audience to grow a little bit and provide some feedback both to myself and guests of the show. But speaking of guests of the show, I'm really glad to finally be able to share a chat I had with Jean-Jacques Morel, or Jean-Jacques Morel, famed or cult Burgundy producer that I recorded late last year when he was here, and I found the chat both inspirational and also very engaging. So I hope you enjoy the episode. Please do stick around until the end to find out how to get in contact with both myself and JJ. But until then, I'll see you on the other side. So I'm very honoured to be sitting with Jean-Jacques Morel, if I can call you JJ, and I really do appreciate you making some time whilst you were here in Australia to be on my podcast. I start every episode of my show by asking my guest if they can remember when did wine become important to you? When did you start to think about wine in a different way that possibly led you in the path to be in the wine industry?
Okay. First, my father was a kind of businessman, and when I was 16, I used to saw him. I used to see him getting present for at the end of the year, and the presents were the most of the time wine bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always looking at him, and he was looking every time. He was looking before open a bottle. He was looking at the bottom of the bottle, and I was wondering why. And then, okay, I traveled. I quit my family. I traveled, and I made a lot of different jobs, and until I didn't drink any wine until I was 20, 25 maybe, and then I went to US to work a little bit, and when I came back in France, I began to work on design, for example, one of the different jobs, and I start to just taste a little bit of wine, and the idea was not the idea, the view was always in my mind. My father looking at the bottom of the bottle, and after traveling, then with my almost wife, uh, we came back to France, and we were living in Paris. And when we decided to get children, we decided that it was not in Paris. We wanted children in the countryside. So where could we go? And her parents were living in Burgundy. So we decided to go to Burgundy. And just arriving in Burgundy, I just rent a little house and surrounded by vineyards. And okay, I tried to get some little jobs in Burgundy, in around the house, and finally some people said, okay, I did the baddest jobs in the vineyard because I didn't know anything about it. And finally, after 2 or 3 years, maybe, I decided to go back to school, because I wanted to know about vineyards, about those plants.
Sure.
And I finished the courses, and okay, now I would like to work, because in the vineyard, because really and officially, because this is something very interesting for me.
If I could just interrupt you.
Yeah.
You are giving the very, very fast forward story of your journey, of your life. If I can,
Yeah.
can I take you all the way back?
Yeah.
So you grew up in Paris,
Yes.
and your family, they weren't involved in wine industry at all. But you said that your father was gifted bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Did you think about why he was looking at the bottom? I'm assuming the punt of the bottle. Was this more important than the label for him?
Yes.
More important than the label.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
I didn't know why.
I must tell you that my grandmother,
Yeah.
her theory, she
Yeah.
didn't know anything about wine, but her
Yeah.
theory was that the deeper
Yeah.
the punt
Yeah.
and the bottom of the bottle, the better the wine. So when we would bring a bottle of wine to dinner, she would say, "Okay, let me just check the bottle. Oh, that's a good bottle. That's a good bottle." And I thought about it many years later, and I thought, how interesting that probably the wine bottles that have the deepest punt is Burgundy and Champagne.
Yeah. Oh, yes, maybe.
So I think that's like, maybe she has good taste as well, because my preference is more for Burgundy than for Bordeaux.
Okay.
But you travelled.
Yes.
What was your desire to travel? Did you have any idea about what you wanted to do for a career, or do you just wanted to live an experience?
No, just living experiences, and I didn't get any thought about a career.
What did your family, what your parents do?
Oh, my father was a kind of businessman. He was working on how could I say, cookies fabric.
Fabric.
I mean firm.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, big firm.
Fabrication, yep.
Yeah, a
Company.
big firm. on cookies. I mean, yeah,
Biscuits. Okay. Yeah.
biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my mother was just mother in the house, you know.
Yes. The most
And
important job.
yes, but she was a good cooker.
Yes.
Also
So did she give you an appreciation for very good food?
for the food. Yes,
Yeah.
for the food. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And
So where did you want to travel? Did you have ideas about traveling overseas, particular countries or places? What were you interested in culture, in nature, in just having a good time?
I was not. I was not. I was not on the nature at this time. Not really. I mean, yes, nature was very nice for me, but I didn't think about it about the nature. I was more thinking about meeting people, different people from different language,
Okay.
and 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 that's all.
Yes.
And
So where did you where did you spend most of your time when you were traveling?
oh, I traveled in Europe a little bit, and then in 79, I met an American woman, I mean girl, and okay, we felt in love in a way. Um, and 2 years later, she came back to US, and so I decided to go to see her. And finally, I just arrived in Oregon,
Okay.
and I didn't get so much money. And just after 3 weeks in Oregon, it would be just right time to get a job.
Okay.
But I was only a tourist. So, but she was still studying in the university.
Yes.
And
Was she from Oregon?
oh no, she was born in Hawaii.
In Hawaii? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
But she was studying on the US
in Portland or in Eugene?
Eugene.
Eugene. Okay.
Yeah.
There's lots of universities in
Yes,
Eugene.
yes. And the countryside is very
Very
wonderful.
beautiful. Lovely.
And after talking with people, I found a little association replanting trees. And it was my first experience on working with nature
And outside, yeah, okay.
outside. And I spent 1.5 year in Oregon, and a little bit of California.
If you're a tourist, how did you get a job? It's best not to say?
No.
Okay.
It was quite. Oh, okay. It was quite illegal. Yeah, but it was an association and some kind of
Did people think
EP
maybe
people.
Did people think that maybe you were Mexican because you were working illegally?
in some, yes.
In California,
I
maybe
was
more?
in California,
Yeah.
yes, and in Texas. In Texas, I get a bad, because also I went to Mexico a little bit,
Yeah.
but just some weeks, and when I tried to get back to US,
Yes.
wow, the border passing was really
Tough.
hurtful.
Yeah.
Yes, because they were thinking that I was a Mexican guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you speak any Spanish?
Just a few,
little.
just a little
But
bit.
on the border between Mexico and the US, they probably wouldn't even know the difference. They just assume.
Yeah.
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 So you enjoyed the experience in America?
Oh yes, very much, because I not only stay in Eugene. I met some people, and I met some people from the association, and finally I went to maybe 100 kilometers down south from Eugene, and I was living in the forest,
Yeah.
in a little wood house in the forest, and spending my time to pick up fruits to eat in the forest.
Wow.
Yes, and planting trees.
So like a hermit. A bit like a hermit.
Yep, that was very nice.
Wow. Okay. So Where did your the time in the US, when did that end, and where did you go after that?
Okay, in '94, I came back to France because finally um, something happened between us, between my girlfriend
Yes.
and me. And finally, okay, I decided to come back to France. And I was quite a little bit sad. And I spent maybe 6 months working in France, in the south of France. And after that, I got in my mind to continue to travel.
Yes.
And so I just bought, after 6 months of work, I bought a ticket to Mexico. And I spent maybe 9 months in Mexico, only traveling, and looking at this culture. I mean, those different culture in Mexico. Yes. And
Did you find it difficult to travel in Mexico?
not at all.
No?
Not at all. Because with my face, and I was able to be among the people and know,
We say
not
inconspicuous.
recognized as a
Inconspicuous,
tourist.
yeah, okay.
You know, I was just dressed as Mexican people, and when it was some kind of difficult situation, I was not speaking because of the accent, and okay, I was just one among the people, and I spent time to travel in different states, different region, and then I go back to France. And when I go back to France, I find a job in a firm in Paris, a design one, and for the fairs, you know, and building the building all for the fair.
Displays and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. And
What sort of fair? Trade fair?
old book fair, or in Paris,
Okay.
or I can't say. I went to Germany, to Italy, to with this film, to Algeria for international fair.
Wow.
It was many different things.
Sure.
I was just on building.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, and after some time, I think I like very much to be independent. You know, and after 2 years working for this fair, for this firm, I met some people in this firm, and we decided to create our own firm, little one, and in the same way, on the same way. I mean, building for fairs and also for houses.
Sure.
And then after 5 years, we decided with my wife to get children.
So the work you are doing, was this a little bit sort of creative? It was, like you said, design.
It was,
but
yes, it was creative because we were presenting the idea to the customer.
So,
and,
okay.
But after that, we were doing it.
Sure. So
manually.
So they told you this is what the feel, kind of what we want to, when people see it, this is what we want them to understand, and then you would have to go away and creatively think about how can we realize this, how can we make what materials and
and we present it to the customer, and he said yes or no, or but I would like this and not this. And
did you enjoy this opportunity?
Oh yes,
because it was using both, your ability to build something, but also to realize it from your mind and to use this kind of language to communicate.
First to imagine.
Yeah.
And then, okay, looking at the house. Okay, what could we do in this house? Okay, we could do this and on the soil
And each project was different, and you had to talk with different people in
yes.
different countries, different
Yes,
cultures.
yes,
This is
yes.
probably an interesting opportunity.
We were also building. I mean, in the shop, in the stores.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, displays, this kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you, with your wife, you decided to have children, and you
Yes.
decided to move to Burgundy.
Because my wife, it's also the reason why we went to Paris, because she was a theater actress.
Wow. Okay.
And she's not anymore.
No, she was there.
Yeah, she was that. And so it was easier for her to find different companies. But after 5 years, we decided to get children. And okay, but not in Paris, because it's a city and in my opinion, an awful city, you know.
Paris is a lovely place to visit. I could not imagine living there.
No. No.
There are many other cities in France that I would much prefer to live in. But you visit Paris every so often. It's nice.
That's what I'm doing now. When I'm going to Paris, it's only for visiting.
Yeah.
And 2 days, 3 days.
To see some friends, to share some wine.
My daughter also, because she's living in Paris.
Oh, okay. Is she studying or working?
She's working.
Wow.
She's a gardener. I mean, she's working in a garden, in a kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
She's building the garden.
She works.
Yeah,
she's
she
a
works.
gardener in a kindergarten.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. With very little children from maybe 1.5 to 5.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So
And
before
she
school.
spent her time to show to those children the nature.
So she teaches them about where fruits and vegetables come from and how to grow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And she can feed those little children with the vegetables.
That's
and the eggs, because she got
chickens. Yeah. Wow. That's a really important thing to be teaching children.
Yes.
I think this is something, particularly in a city like Paris, for
Yes,
example,
yes.
children have there's no connection with where food comes from, with
Yes,
agriculture.
exactly.
And so to be able to teach them to say, these foods that your parents give you at home, this is where it comes from.
It's not coming in the supermarket.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
It grows.
It doesn't come with plastic wrapped around it. It grows in the earth.
Yes.
And so you moved to Burgundy.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Burgundy did you move to?
First in the south of Burgundy, just between Chalon-sur-Saône and Mâcon.
Okay.
Okay. This is the south part of Burgundy.
So it's about halfway between the Côte d'Or and Beaujolais?
Yes, half part between Beaujolais and Côte d'Or.
Okay.
Yes.
And so with obviously the wine industry being very, very important in this part of France, you saw there was an opportunity to find some work in viticulture, but this
not right. I mean, I was just looking at the vineyard, and okay, I was in Burgundy, and I realized that if I can find a job on the vineyards, I will spend my time outside and under the wind, the sun, the rain, sometimes frozen time. Yes.
Recently.
And yes.
It's been very bad.
Yeah, quite bad. And finally, okay, the idea was a lovely idea in my mind, you know. And
you thought of the years you spent in southern
also.
Oregon, in the forest, in nature.
Yes, it reminds me.
Independent.
Yeah, it reminds me those times, you know. And yes, and I get.
So you accepted the worst jobs possible, like
because
you didn't mind
because I didn't know anything about the vineyard, and okay, some people said yes, you can do this. Oh, it was repetitive work,
Yes.
always the same. But okay, it was okay because I was outside. And yes, and after 2 years, uh, I don't, I thought it was quite quite good for my body, for my health, to stay on this kind of job outside, and I should say that my wife told me, okay, why are you not going to school? I was 40. Why are you not going back to school? And since you are you looks you looks you look passionate with this, so why don't you go back to school and learn about vineyard?
It's healthy for the body, healthy for the mind and the
Yes,
soul.
also, yes, because many things, many dreams where you got time to dream in the nature, and I went back to school, and at the end at the end of the school I found a job in close to Mâcon in Pouilly-Fuissé in a domain. Uh, this domain was owned by two people. One French woman that inherited the domain,
Yes.
and freshly graduate from the school also,
Yes.
and her husband was still living in Italy because he was an architect.
Okay.
And so I was in charge of the vineyard and a little bit of the cellar. But then when her husband came back in France, he just kept the managing of the domain, and some things were happening that we were not okay with the work, with
Some
the
disagreement.
idea of the work.
Okay.
And so I quit. And just before quitting, my parents-in-law, my father-in-law, who were living in Saint-Aubin, did propose me to plant some vineyards. So we said okay,
Okay.
and we went to Saint-Aubin,
Yes.
just up north.
Okay.
And then it was 2000 year, and I planted my first vineyard in Saint-Aubin in 2000, and the next one in 2001, and I was also working in a big domain in Saint-Aubin, but totally conventional. And what is important also is when I went back to school, it was a school for vineyard, but conventional.
Sure.
So with a lot of names of chemicals, and I don't remember none of them. But okay, it was not too bad, because when I was working also in the big domain, it was a quite conventional one, the chemical one. And when I decided to work with the both vineyard to find a little more vineyards to rent, and I decided, okay, now I want to work for myself, make the wine, but not in this way.
Is this when you made the decision, like that you were passionate about working, with sustainable farming, the organic biodynamic, these kind of practices, or did you have this idea for many years before? Were you interested in more ecological ways of working in the vineyard than in conventional?
Not only in the vineyard, I mean with the nature. I I couldn't imagine when I was in the school. In the school, in the viticulture school.
Yes.
First time, I didn't understand what about they were talking.
Yeah.
Because I just before I couldn't imagine that. Viticulture was so much on chemicals. I didn't thought that viticulture was so chemical. Chemical on chemicals. And yes, and all the time, I think since my youth, I was not imagining that all the vegetables that we are eating are so sprayed with chemicals.
Yeah.
I didn't thought it, and then
So you planted 2 vineyards.
yeah.
And you decided when you were planting that you didn't want to work in a conventional way.
Oh, no. And even the first vineyard I planted, on the first season, I just, it was not a decision. It was almost something quite, in French we say inné, that comes like this. It comes like this.
Innate.
You never think about it. It's just natural.
The universe decided for you.
Yeah, and I didn't spray anything, even organic. I didn't spray anything on it. And finally, at the end of the season, there were not a leaf on the vineyard because the downy mildew came, and I didn't do anything. And finally, for this vineyard, I think it was quite a kind of vaccine, because those little plants knew that what is downy mildew.
Yes, what nature is providing to them and how to fight it, how to be resistant.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And the next year, the plants were very beautiful, as if they were
stronger.
or as if nothing happened.
Wow, wow. I mean, and this is it is I guess for most people, it's a very scary idea to take this risk. Potentially to say, I'll do nothing, and if nature gives me problems, that's okay. The vines will find the balance. They will find a way to recover, to become stronger, and then next time it happens, they are more resistant. It's a very scary idea, particularly somewhere like Burgundy, where land is very expensive.
Yes.
The yield is very low. The amount of wine you can make to sell is very difficult. So to take a risk when you have 5 hectares, if you lose everything, that's a year without income. It's a big problem.
Yeah. But also I was working on a domain, so it was, I got 2 jobs, in fact.
Yes.
And yes, I think, and also I think in a way, I like very much, not the risk, it's not the risk that I like very much. It's the be present. Be present. And nature is, for me, is very beautiful. But in a way, I know that nature can be very strong and very destructive. But there is always, for me, there is always a balance. Something bad happening, and then recovering, and good things are coming after. So I think
it's like when we, as people, when we are sick,
Yeah.
when you are sick, you feel
Okay.
terrible. You think, oh, I've never felt
Yeah.
worse than
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine what it is like to feel good again.
Yeah.
But with rest and
Yeah.
you
A
look
little
after
soup.
yourself, yeah, lots of water,
Yeah.
and you recover,
Yeah.
and you feel better.
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
you did before.
Yes. Yes.
So when was your first crop to make wine with?
Okay. 3 years. 3 years after planting my first vineyard, I was meeting some people, some winemakers around Saint-Aubin, and finally I became friend with Dominique Derain, which is a biodynamic winemaker in Saint-Aubin, and we became friends. And I taught him one day. It was just in September, I think September. I was harvesting with him, and I told him, okay, if it's so boring to work for this big domain, So if you hear about some vineyards to rent, just tell me. And 15 days later,
Wow.
he called me and he said, okay, there is one of my neighbors is going to retirement. Call his owner. I did. And because I was not from the village, because there is a big, how could I say, a big, I can't find a word even in French. Sorry.
It's people are very they're very suspicious of people from other
not
other
only
areas.
not only even between themselves.
Okay.
Very
protective,
concurrence,
secretive.
concurrency.
Yeah.
There is a big concurrency because of the price of the wine of the vineyard.
Of course.
Yes. So, and this owner, just because I wasn't from the village, he said yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 years later, he was regretting.
Why was he regretting?
Because he wasn't. Because all this area, except Dominique Derain, is unconventional.
Yes.
And with highway road.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, there is no grass at all on the row in the row of the vineyards. There is fertilizer every year. There's many things like this, chemicals, and so since my absolute idea was to follow the nature. I let the grass come on the vineyard, and sometimes it's almost a jungle, but okay, it grows, and I can harvest also, and
So your decisions about how you are working in the vineyard, you said it was very innate.
Yes.
This wasn't necessarily something you read or someone told you something. If you do this, then it will be good. You just sort of said, I'm going to allow nature to find its own path.
Yeah.
And I want to learn.
Yeah.
To understand if I do something or if I don't do something, how it will affect the vineyard and the grapes.
Yeah, and I found just a little bit later some books to read, which and they were give me comfort
Yes.
about my idea, about my feeling.
Yes.
Because I read some books talking about natural culture. And okay, I'm not so stupid. Okay, it works. People are talking about this. Okay, they did experiment this, and okay, it works. So I'm not so stupid.
But the very crazy thing is that this is how we always farmed, you know, 100, 200 years ago,
Yes, yes,
all farming was like this.
yes,
So,
yes,
so it's
exactly.
almost like to have to unlearn. You know, for example, you went to study, you know, viticulture at l'école, and you got all this information about chemicals and conventional farming, and you had to go, no, I reject all this, and I want to take it back to very simple,
Yeah,
simple,
very
simple farming.
simple.
Yeah.
It's because also it's very simple. Okay, I don't get big crop, big I mean big harvest, but it it's not necessary. Because it's not necessary, and because I don't want to just because I don't want to change my car every year. I've a big four
4x4, yeah.
4x4. No, I want to have just a simple life, and
But this is what's so fascinating is that in the model of conventional farming, for example, in Burgundy,
Yeah.
you know, they are using fertilizers to
increase.
encourage growth, but then now going through the vineyards and now cutting fruit.
Yes,
It makes no sense.
and
It's like don't use fertilizers. Nature will decrease the yield
Yes.
of the vine
Yes.
for you. You don't
Yes.
you know, and it's a much better balanced, more authentic reduction of yield.
Yes, yes, and also just on the harvest every year, I can see my neighbors, and okay, they got big crop, but they have some table, you know,
Sorting, yeah.
yeah, sorting tables, and finally they reject maybe 1/3 of the crop. It looks for me. It looks quite incredible.
But
you
then,
know?
but then you look at your fruit and you say, but 90, 90+% of
Yeah,
my fruit
no
is
mold.
perfect.
Yeah, no
I
mold.
don't need to reject.
Yeah, no mold, no nothing. Nice, ripened grapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What influences did you have as far as the way you wanted to make the wine in the cellar?
What influence?
Yeah, what decisions? What did you? Was it similar as far as the vigneron you appreciated from a viticulture perspective? You appreciated the way that they were making the wine as well.
I would say I just talk with some winemakers, natural, almost natural. I mean, organic, at least organic winemakers, but I just built. Even not in my mind, it was in my heart. I just built in my heart the idea of following the same line, even if the line is like this curved line, but just following the same line as in the vineyard.
Yes.
I'm trying to get minimal intervention in the vineyard, and only manual intervention. I don't get any tractor. No. And in my heart was the feeling of following the same line in the cellar.
Yes.
Minimal intervention.
Yes.
And finally, just because I was feeling, I don't know how to say exactly, I was feeling that the nature make the wine.
Yes.
I'm sorry for everybody. I mean, for all the winemakers, but the nature makes the wine.
You have to help a little bit with your hands.
We have to be the shepherd.
Sure, of course.
You know, to put the vines in the best conditions to give some fruits.
But what you are doing exactly is what your daughter is doing now.
Yes.
She is the shepherd of the young children.
Yes, exactly.
And giving them enough information and enough
Yeah.
guidance
Yeah.
that they can then they have their own understanding, and then as they grow older, they find their own path with food, and they understand it's nature is better. Nature provides us what we need with some understanding and with some guidance.
And yes, with some guidance, and also a lot of listening.
Yes.
Listening and viewing what is happening.
Yes.
And make some decisions to guide the vines.
Absolutely.
And then maybe the wine, but I don't really guide the wine. I'm just pressing the grapes and pour the juice in old oak barrels, and wait.
Yes.
Because I don't know what happened.
You follow. You follow. You don't tell, you follow.
I follow. Yeah. I'm smelling, tasting.
Yes.
Okay. And
Listening, observing.
listening. And that's all.
Yeah. It seems so simple.
Yes,
but
it
is
is.
also, for most people, I think it's very scary. It's risk.
It
so
could
they
be.
want to control the risk. They want to farm conventionally. They want to make the wines, with machines and with chemicals, because if they do that, they know what they will get at the end.
Yeah.
But what they get at the end is not interesting.
It's not wine.
It's not nature. It's not nourishment.
No.
And so your mother, who was a great cook, she
yes.
taught you about nourishment and good ingredients.
Yeah.
And your travels, you lived in the forest, you understood what nature provides, you were foraging for yourself.
Yes.
So you understood what nature provides. So to tell nature what it should be is wrong. You observe, you understand, but you allow nature to follow its own path.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things you talked about, that you love travel. Did you think in your mind that to have your wines and to be able to go to other parts of the world to show them, was this just innate to you? Just like, now I get to come to Melbourne on this beautiful hot day to show my wines. Is this something that you enjoy?
Oh yes, very much. And meeting the people.
Yeah.
And from another country and different culture anyway. Different culture. I love this. I think I'm always learning.
Yes.
And until the end, I will be learning. That's my way, not my goal, because I don't want to look at the goal. I want to just follow the way.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Jean-Jacques, JJ, I want to say thank you very much for making some time. I know that you will be in Australia again for Rootstock in Sydney.
Until the end of Rootstock.
Yes, fantastic. So I do encourage everyone, if there are an opportunity to you don't have much wine, but find where you can buy some of the JJ Morel wines, because they are really some of the most exhilarating and authentic wines you can find from Burgundy, because even though there's not so much Burgundy these days, there are a lot of different producers, but I do encourage everyone to seek out JJ's wine. So thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your time in Australia.
Thank you.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of the Vincast. I have been James Gasbrook, otherwise known as the Intrepid Wino, and I'd love for you to follow me on social media. On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, I'm at Intrepid Wino, and you can also follow the podcast on Twitter at the Vincast. Please do visit my YouTube channel, Intrepid Wino. Lots of different videos there, including my series called Let's Taste, where I open up Australian and New Zealand wines and share my impressions of them, and some videos of my previous winemaking experiences. Hopefully many more as the 2018 vintage approaches. Subscribe, leave a comment, like, and share some of the videos. You know the drill. I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast on your platform of choice, whether that be iTunes, Player FM, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, hopefully soon Spotify. Subscribing means you get the newest episode as soon as it becomes available. And ideally, I'd love for you to leave a rating and review, which obviously gives me some great feedback, but also helps reach a bigger audience and lets the guests know how much you have enjoyed their interviews. Please do get in touch with me via my website, intrepidwino.com. You can find lots of information there as well as my previous writings and my experiences in the past. But otherwise, guys, until next time, bye.
Earbuds, Melbourne's podcast network. earbudsnetwork.com